call the meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for a salute to the flag, and please remain standing for a moment of silence afterwards.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Perry, will you please call the roll?
Sure. Councilman McAvoy?
Here.
Councilman Spadafino?
Here.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Here.
Councilman Wendell?
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231 Public Laws 1975, specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the Municipal Building Public Notice Bulletin Board located in the main lobby, providing a copy to the Home News, Tribune, and Sentinel newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk in accordance with the certification, which will be entered in the minutes.
Thank you. Tonight we have a proclamation for Hadassah Month. Councilwoman?
Yes.
Sure, come on up.
Please come, join. Okay. Proclamation, Hadassah Month 2019. Whereas Hadassah, the Women's Zionist Organization of America, for over 100 years, as a force for democracy in the United States, and through the membership of over 650 women serving in the East Brunswick chapter. And whereas Hadassah continues to foster and enrich the Jewish cultural and spiritual traditions, which have contributed so greatly to humanitarian values. Whereas Hadassah seeks to intensify its extensive services on behalf of the health, education, youth programs, and well-being of the people of Israel and the United States. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Brad J. Cohen, Mayor of the Township of East Brunswick, do hereby proclaim the month of October as Hadassah Month in East Brunswick. Be further proclaimed the Civic Center Drive will be renamed Hadassah Drive for the period of October 1st, 2019 through October 15th, 2019. Given under my hand and the Great Seal of the Township of East Brunswick this 23rd day of September in the year 2019. Mayor Brad J. Cohen.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I want to introduce my co-president. I'm Liz Salston, and my co-president Elaine Silver. And we are part of a national organization, the largest extant women's volunteer organization in the country. Over 300,000 members nationwide. We're worldwide. We are non-sectarian. I've had people ask me, need you be Jewish to join Hadassah? Absolutely not. You have to support the fact that we have medical research done in Israel, some of the finest medical research, whether it be stem cell, as Brad can attest to, or there's been so much work done with prosthetic devices and robotics. It's been amazing. And I think you need to follow and really know what's done. And we do a lot of advocacy on the Hill. Local issues, we stand strong. And women's health is a big initiative lately. So I want to thank you, and I also want to thank you for yesterday at the Community Day, because it had traditionally been on a Saturday, Jewish organizations could not participate. As of last year, whether it was Brad or the council, was able to switch it to Sunday. And I'm really trying to get more representation of synagogues and Jewish organizations to participate. I think it's very important to have the visual and the outreach. So I thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes.
How would those interested in joining your group reach out to you?
I wear a second hat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also membership vice president. I can give you my name and number. I can put literature. We're actually going to be on Channel 8. We do a lot of partnering with East Brunswick Library. Actually, on the 23rd, a month from now of October, we're doing a very special breast cancer awareness program because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We're widely publicizing that. But as far as membership, do you want my number?
Do you have a website?
What?
I'm talking for the public at large.
You're on TV.
You're on TV,
We have
so...
a Facebook page also.
Yeah.
Elaine, you want to say something?
We have a Facebook page. We have a website.
Which is?
Which is your website? What's your website?
Hadassah.East Brunswick. I will have to get it to the mayor's office, okay? Can I do
Sure.
that?
Yeah, please, that'd be great.
Thank you, and we encourage membership, and we also have associates, and Michael Baker is an associate, which means that men can join you. A wonderful thing is to gift a grandchild, a child on any celebration, any happy situation. We encourage membership and participation, so I thank you so much for honoring us. Okay.
Thank you.
And our Facebook page is East Brunswick Hadassah.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have a presentation for the Prevention of Alcohol and Drug Abuse and Marijuana Forum by our Director of Parks, Public Works, and Recreation, Michael Reisner, and Jennifer Stetson. Hello, Jen.
Hi, good evening, folks. Jennifer and here are here to give an overview on the Municipal Alliance for the Prevention of Alcohol and Drug Abuse, which is managed out of the Parks and Recreation Department in East Brunswick. Jennifer is the Alliance Coordinator for East Brunswick Township. My comments will be brief, and I'll give it over to Jen, who will kind of go over what we do on a local level here in East Brunswick. It starts at the state. The Governor's Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse executes 3 core functions at the state level: prevention planning, public awareness and education, and the administration of the Alliance to Prevent Alcoholism and Drug Abuse program. The council administers the state's $10 million Alliance program, which is the largest network of community-based anti-drug coalitions in the nation. Municipal alliances are then established and formed by municipal ordinance and engage residents, local government, law enforcement officials, schools, nonprofit organizations, the faith community, parents, youth, and other allies in efforts to prevent alcoholism and drug abuse in communities throughout New Jersey. Through the appointments that Mayor Cohen has made to the Alliance in East Brunswick, and through Jen's hard work in developing relationships and partnerships at the East Brunswick level, we're able to really implement some grassroots programming that Jen will go over at the local level in East Brunswick. And that's the way the Alliance is supposed to process in each community. The Governor's Council receives funding to administer the program from the Drug Enforcement Demand Reduction Fund, otherwise known as DEDR, established to collect fines from individuals who are assessed such when convicted of a drug offense. And then from there, it goes down to a county level, and Jen will describe the process of East Brunswick applying for a grant through Middlesex County as well. And before I turn over to Jen, I just want to thank her for her good work through the Alliance. She does a great job at partnering with schools, the police, at a local level, and really getting things done in our community. So thank you, Jen.
Hi, I have to move this down, I guess, right? So, the Alliance, what do we do? So essentially, we're funded to provide evidence-based and community-level programming that's supposed to specifically target substance abuse in East Brunswick. It's based on prevention as opposed to intervention or treatment. How do the funds trickle down to East Brunswick? So each municipality that's interested in funding is required to submit their plan along with their data to back it up to the county. The county reviews your data, basically checks it over in case there's any red flags, anything that they know will not pass through the state, and then they compile it together, all the municipalities that have applied in the county. They compile all of those plans together, and they submit it as one big group to the state. And then the state either approves or doesn't approve. Sometimes they'll approve your plan, but with the modification. So, for example, currently we are funded to provide drug prevention to the youth. We actually did apply for across the lifespan, and we were not approved for that. We were approved for prescription drug prevention for the youth only. The reason for that is that we didn't have the hardcore data that we needed to provide for individuals other than the youth. Currently, we receive $50,172. This amount is generally based on your population and your performance. So the state will divide the money up that they have by each county and their size, and then it trickles down as well to not only is our population going forward, they're actually going to take into consideration arrests and things like that as well. So the numbers will change a little bit. How did we secure this funding? This funding is through a grant. Therefore, we have to go through the whole application process to apply, which for those of you who have worked with grants before, you know that's a long, difficult process. So we have to gather quantitative data as well as input from key sources such as the police department, other sources as well. And we're required to pick from a list of priorities. They give us a set of priorities, and we can pick which priority we have the data matches, I should say. So our current plan is, as I mentioned, prescription drug misuse and abuse. We're also required to identify root causes and create a logic model, and all of this gets put into our plan and our application, which, as I said, is submitted to the county and then reviewed there, and as I said, it moves on to the state from that point. So our current plan, as I mentioned, is prescription drug abuse misuse, and that was based on the data that we collected previously before we submitted our plan that we currently are working on. The programs we currently implement include the following. Too Good for Drugs. This is an evidence-based program that's designed to reduce students' intention to use alcohol, tobacco, illegal drugs while promoting positive attitudes, skills, and behaviors. So currently this is in the 8th grade at Churchill. In Hammersholt, we have the Teen Education Series, which is also an evidence-based program that aims to prevent or delay the onset of alcohol, marijuana, and non-medical prescription use, and also to prevent bullying. So that's in 7th grade. We currently also have a program called EverFi, and that's specifically the EverFi prescription drug safety program. They do have other versions. This is a digital course, and this focuses on 9th graders with the knowledge and tools. They arm them with the knowledge and tools needed to make healthy, informed decisions, and that actually goes through their health class. We also provide funding to community policing, as another example. It provides funding for them to purchase drug prevention materials. So when they go out in the community, they have materials that can be on, the concerns with drug prevention, with prescription drugs, ways to talk to your doctor about prescription drugs, ways to talk to your teen, information about the different prescription drugs. So with those materials, we are funded to purchase for them. They also will currently are funding us to purchase some items, like let's say they go out and they work with kids in the community, so maybe some items they might want to give to children with a drug prevention notification. We're not funded for interventions, so like Narcan is an intervention, so those types of programs we are not funded for. We also run a lot of larger community events, town hall meetings. We run actually Hidden in Plain Sight. We've run Hidden in Plain Sight several times. We actually just ran it last week and the week before in Hammersholt during Back to School Night, which was a new way for us to do that. It was actually very successful. So the kids rotated through lunch, which was really hidden in plain sight during one of their periods, and they came in, and we do this with a DEA agent, and he really shows them certain things that they need to be looking for in their children's rooms, maybe their backpack, that are perhaps places to I guess hide things, or things that are hints or signs of concerns. Parents were very, very enamored with the program, and we did it for 6th and 7th grade, and so hopefully we'll do that again. But we've also run it in large, like we ran it at Playhouse 22. We did a big event, which was great because actually Playhouse 22 partnered with us and gave us like a whole bedroom set. So because it's set up like a bedroom and you're walking around the bedroom and looking at the different items. So Playhouse was kind enough to give us like a real bed, a real desk, and a whole setup. So it was actually a really successful program. And we've also we ran it at Memorial School recently. We also ran a program called Knockout Opioid Abuse. That was at Hammersholt. We did that in partnership with the Partnership for Drug-Free New Jersey. We also have run vaping and a combination of a vaping and prescription drug presentation, which we just ran this past spring. We know vaping's a huge issue right now. We had actually a former DEA agent come in, and he presented at the high school, but we live streamed it to all of the kids during the day, and then at night he came back and did another presentation for the adults, for the parents in the community. Last winter, we also partnered with the Elks to run a marijuana forum to educate the community on the impact the sale of recreational marijuana in East Brunswick would have in our community. The Elks paid for the speaker in this case, as we're not funded to educate about marijuana. So now we are actually currently in the process of putting together our new plan. So we're gathering data. So with that, if anybody does have access to local East Brunswick data, we have to have all of this plan put together by the end of October. But if someone does has, as I said, some kind of data that's focused on statistics here in East Brunswick, would be thrilled to have that input to make sure that we are going to be providing the proper education going forward. Typically, when you pick your priority, you do have to pick a priority that you're going to focus on for 5 years. Every year you kind of have to update and you can modify, but they do kind of look for you to go out into the future because their thought is that you can't really make major changes in 1 year. So if you decide you're going to do 1 year of prescription drug prevention education, in 1 year, how can you measure a change? So they've asked us to try to maintain a priority along as it's reasonable for a 5-year period of time. So we're working on that now. So as I said, if you have any input, we'd love it. We meet about 5 times a year. Our next meeting is on October 16th at 7:30 at the Recreation Office, and the entire public is welcome to participate. The more input we have from the community, the better. So, thank you. Do you have any
Thank you.
questions?
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Good. Okay.
Any questions?
I'd just like to say thank you very much for the work that you've done, Mr. Reisner and Ms. Stetson, especially the work that you've done with the schools. It's overwhelming, and we appreciate that. The partnering that you're doing, the grant writing that you're doing. There's not enough time in the day to do all that and all the other work that you do, so much appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can attest she works really hard.
Sharon's been great. We appreciate the fact that she's 100% all in terms of being part of the Alliance. So she goes to every training she can and does anything she can to gain all the education she can to really help have a tremendous impact on the Alliance. So we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to
Thank
move
you
on.
for a great day yesterday.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's
be
all right.
rude.
All right, we're going to move on to our public hearing, ordinance 19-25, amending Chapter 228, zoning of the Township of East Brunswick for electric vehicle charging stations. I'm going to open this up to the public. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this ordinance and this ordinance only? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion. Any discussion? Yes, Councilman Spadafino.
Upon reviewing this ordinance, I was struck by the fact that even though I'm strongly in support of this green effort and very definitely within the next 5 years plan to own an electric car, I felt that there needed to be a little bit of a tweak in the wording regarding especially very small businesses. And so because of that, I'm going to ask that we table this ordinance for a period of time to be able to take those small businesses into consideration.
Okay, so it's a motion to table.
Yes.
Anyone else?
So the clerk, would you like it tabled to a specific date so we don't have to?
If they want it tabled to a specific date, that would
If we
be-
table it to a specific date,
But if we're
then
gonna make major changes, we're gonna have to start over anyway. So if you just wanna table it,
Is there an advantage to going to a specific date then? Depending on what the changes are
No,
going to
it
be?
depends on what the changes are. If the changes are major, then it's gonna be,
Right, and
You'll
I
have to
can't tell
start
what
it
that's gonna
anyway.
be until,
Substantive, so-
till,
Okay.
Mike
okay, so then we'll
So-
just go to table. So
Table?
motion just
So I
to
got a motion
table.
to table. Can I get a second on the
I'll
motion?
second it.
Second by Councilman Sullivan. Call the roll, please.
Call the roll for tabling.
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy,
Yes.
Councilman Spadafino,
yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilman Windell.
Yes. All right, that is tabled. We're going to move on to our reports section. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Council President. Want to thank everybody for the East Brunswick Day, everybody that was involved in making it so successful. Each year, it seems to be more and more people coming. Weather did cooperate, although it was a little hot. If it was a couple of degrees less, that would have been nicer, but it was still great, and there's a large turnout. I think there were a lot of programs and a lot of booths that were geared towards kids. It seemed to be a noticeable difference with whether it was religious organizations or businesses that were all geared a lot towards the youth, and that's a good sign that people are recognizing that the families are moving back to East Brunswick, and these are the things that is important to them. We also had and so I want to thank all the people in public, in the Parks and Rec Department, the Police Department, and DPW, all of those who had an involvement in making it a really successful day. They deserve our appreciation because I know it's a lot of work and all hands were on deck. Councilwoman Sullivan and Council President Stanley and I had the opportunity yesterday to meet Susanna Kapitova, who is the president of Slovakia. She was here in East Brunswick. She's actually was in the States at the UN, but there was a large Slovakian festival yesterday at the fairgrounds, and she was the guest of honor. We had an opportunity to meet her. Evidently, she is known in Slovakia as the Erin Brockovich of Slovakia.
Wow.
A big proponent of and helped move along legislation that prevented landfills from falling and toxic waste from being dumped into communities. So somebody who I think we would all have a lot in common with. I do want to report tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live. I've entitled it, Please, Not Another List. It's basically a review of the statistics, or the poor statistics behind a lot of the studies and lists that constantly get thrown out into the public, mostly social media sector, whether it's school data or police data. People need to be a better arbiter of facts and a better ability to understand statistics, and instead of just reading headlines and conclusions. And if you do that, you'll see that many of the studies that whether it's school lists or crime lists, are very, very subjective, and most of the data is not very good. I also wanted to talk a little bit, if you will. We had, unfortunately, an accident yesterday where the pedestrian was hit on the corner of Ruse and Winton. And fortunately, that individual is at the hospital and is expected to do well. But what it does put an onus on the township, our departments, our police, our engineering department, to take a look at many of our roads, our intersections, and keep in mind that these roads were put in place when 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. The volume of traffic, the number of people that were living here were vastly different at that time than they were now, and they are now. And I think that it puts the onus on us, which we do on a regular basis, to review all of these roads and to look at some of these intersections that could be problematic. We also live in a time where we are constantly being distracted, whether it's the stuff that's in your cars that you could fiddle around with. That's not even including the phones that people utilize. I think pedestrians need to be a little bit more aware of their surroundings. It's a different world that we're living in. The same rules apply. You got to look both ways. Get the stupid earbuds and the headphones off while you're walking around. We just have to be cognizant that we're living in a different world, and we can't possibly police every spot in town and prevent every accident from happening. That being said, there are places in town that we need to spend time looking again at sight lines, speed limits, signage, and we will be doing that. So we're happy that the individual that was involved in this pedestrian incident is going to do well, but it puts the spotlight back on us as a town to do a little bit more homework looking at some of these roads and byways, and we will be doing that.
Hey, you said Ruse in Winton?
Was Ruse and Winton.
That's where we have the flags too, right?
Correct. Well, I think part of the problem there might be that we just finished, half a problem, we finished paving roads, and now it's easy to go faster on some of those
course.
roads. When you had all the potholes, people slowed down because they were afraid they were going to lose an axle. So we do fix the roads, but that doesn't give people permission to break the law. And like I said, we can't possibly have a police force large enough to put them at every place where an accident or where someone's going to break the law. We just have to follow the law. So, and then finally, I have to thank everybody who is going to be coming to the gala. I've been talking about it for weeks now, but it is sold out. We are at about 470 people, which is the max that you could fit in the chateau. So I want to thank everybody who responded and who's going to be there. It should be wonderful. It's for a good cause. We're going to be raising a lot of money for charities here in town and honoring some very, very special people in town who have made a lifelong tradition of volunteering, and they will be celebrated. So I know that it was a little long-winded, but
It's all right.
thank you.
Our business administrator, you have
Nothing
anything to
this
add?
evening.
Oh, thank
No
you.
report this evening.
No, I didn't even ask you yet.
I'm helping you along, Council President.
Any council, committee, or board reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to the public portion. Anyone from the public wishing to speak? If you come up, please direct your comments to the chair. Limit your comments to 5 minutes. Seeing no one, we'll close the public portion. We'll move on to our consent agenda. Anyone need anything separated?
I have a question on D.
D.
B and D for me.
You want them separated, or you
Yes.
just want to ask a question? All right.
I could ask a question.
Well, since you
Okay.
both want these separated, so can I get a motion for the following? Item A, authorizing the Middlesex County 4-H Association to hold a haunted house hayride event. Item C, of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, awarding a contract for snow removal services for 2019 to 2020, from 2019 to 2021 to Lucas Brothers and Anthony Bayless Incorporated. Item E, approval of raffle license RA 2458, Mothers of Twins Club, Ocean County, Chapter, November 1st. Item F, approval of raffle license RA 2459, BPOE 2370, East Brunswick, October 12th, 2019. Item G, approval of agenda action meeting minutes, September 9th, 2019. Item H, approval of closed executive session meeting minutes, September 9th, 2019. Item I, approval of the bill list. Please call the roll. Oh, we get a motion, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Motion by Councilman Spadafino, second.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Sullivan.
Councilman McAvoy,
Yes.
Councilman Spadafino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilman Wendell.
Yes. All right, now we'll move on to item B, authorizing the mayor and clerk to enter into agreement with New Jersey Department of Community Affairs in East Brunswick Township to provide a grant for an inclusive recreation camp program. Can I get a motion to approve? Motion by Councilman Spadafino.
Second.
Second by Councilman McAvoy. Discussion?
Yeah, I would like to just get an explanation. I see this as a nice feather in the cap of the community. And so could we, for the community's sake, could we get a further explanation?
Yes, this is some money we get from the state to help with our DAISY program and other camp programs when children can be mainstreamed. As you can see, we have a local share of $4,000 to do that. So when we put $4,000 in, the state will give us $20,000 to do the program. So it's definitely a huge benefit that we can offer inclusionary programs for those with disabilities in the township for either the DAISY program or to have those people kind of be mainstream into some of the recreation programs where we may need additional aid or whatever to facilitate that mainstreaming. It's something that we'll probably be doing every year, and hope that you'll support this resolution.
As long as we can keep getting the state funding, I don't see why we wouldn't. Any other questions? Seeing none, Ms. Perry, would you please call the roll?
Councilman McAvoy?
Yes.
Councilman Spadafino?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes. All right, item D, granting permission to Clean Water Action to conduct a door-to-door education and fundraising drive in the Township of East Brunswick. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Spadafino, second?
Question on it first.
Well, you can second it.
I'll second it.
You know,
Okay.
then we'll vote.
Okay.
Second by Councilwoman Sullivan. All right, questions?
Yes. How did they choose 4 to 9 o'clock, not 4 to 8 o'clock?
We have an ordinance that specifies the time period within which you can go door to door.
Okay.
The Council President, Council Vice
Yes.
President. The problem I have with the Clean Water Action process is that they're going to be allowed to go door to door, correct?
Mhm.
So they're going to be knocking on your door.
With that, they're getting background checks and.
That's fine. That
No, they're being
goes without
approved though,
saying.
right? The-
Not
But-
on,
But
we don't do background
Uh-huh.
checks on these.
Okay,
Not on the not-for-profits. It's
Okay.
different than a
Not-for-profits.
peddler's license.
all right.
Right.
But they will be tagged, right?
They'll wear their own tags, and then we send a list of the names that they give us, we send it down to the police department. So if someone has an issue with someone coming to their door, they can pick up the phone and call the police department, and they will send someone out if there's an issue.
Okay.
But the problem I have
Mhm.
is the fundraising aspect that's written into the resolution. So they're going to be knocking on doors, sharing their wisdom, and then they're going to finish it up by saying, "Would you like to make a contribution?" I just don't see eye to eye with this. I don't see why the organization of Clean Water Action can't just simply set up a table in the mall and educate the community versus walking door to door, knocking on residents' doors and asking for money. Thank you, Council.
I have had a problem with these kinds of solicitations for years, and we've always had legal counsel oftentimes tell us
They are
that
constitutionally protected
Yeah.
activities.
that's,
Right.
and that is the issue. We
And
don't-
I am constitutionally protected with my vote from this day.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Thank you.
All right. Would you please call the roll?
Councilman McAvoy?
No.
Councilman Spadafino?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes. All right, we're going to move on to ordinances requiring a public hearing. Public hearing date of October 14th, 2019. Ordinance 19-26 to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the East Brunswick Township, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 135 licenses, Article 14 retail electronic smoking device establishments, Section 88 license required fee of the revised general ordinances of the Township of East Brunswick. Can I get a motion? Motion by Councilman Spadafino, second.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Sullivan. Any discussion?
I see this, help me out on this one, maybe Mr. Baker. I see what we're doing here is we're raising the rates for licensing and renewal of the license. The way I see the vaping issue, and my background is simply based on the news media in which we have been overwhelmed with the number of deaths that have occurred because of vaping. And I know there's a lot more to the story than just the 5-minute blip that I get on Channel 4 News each evening. But instead of raising the rates in an effort to, as the way I see it, scare off the next wave of vape shops, why don't we just simply go for a ban? Mr. Baker?
Very good questions, Councilman. A ban would be unconstitutional in New Jersey. The mayor had some similar concerns to you, but the reason for the increase of the fees is because of what we're reading in the newspapers and the fact that the FDA and other agencies have instituted new stringent guidelines on what can and can't be sold and whom it can be sold to. So that will increase the cost to the town for inspectors and police for monitoring these facilities. So that's the reason to compensate the town for the added cost of these new laws and regulations that are coming into effect. But it is currently legal, and we are not allowed to ban something that is legal through our zoning ordinances or otherwise.
I know it's sort of unrelated, but there was an accident recently where a car went into one of the vaping shops, and I immediately, I don't know exactly what happened over there, but my brain immediately went into, that person who was just caught up in this anti-drug campaign, which is fine, anti-vaping, I find, but when you're going to harm someone, that really set me back a little bit.
Well, I don't think anybody came down. That was an automobile accident.
Right.
It was just an accident, Councilman.
Thank you. I didn't see it as just an accident.
Yeah.
Telling you how I feel
Yes.
and how I saw it.
Yes.
Adding to this vaping issue, which we are dealing with on this dais. Thank you, Mr. Baker.
I will tell you, I remember when we first put the fees in for vape shops, it was probably about 6 years ago, something like that. Not even that long, but to that end, I was a fan of higher fees, and we kind of started out at a low fee, and I do believe that at this point in time, it's probably going to cost us more money to continue the oversight on these shops, and as such, I'm supportive of anything that would protect the public and provide more oversight to these shops. So
My staff did a little survey of some of the surrounding communities, and this is consistent with the South Brunswick, which seemed to be the highest in the area.
any other comments?
Yeah, let me just go one step further. So, can you make a recommendation, Mr. Baker, on this ordinance?
A recommendation in which way?
You just said that so now the dollar and cent sign is sort of equal to, I'm just taking Edison, South Brunswick,
South Brunswick.
South River. This is the correct avenue to pursue.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Council President. Council member.
All right, any other comments? Seeing none, Ms. Perry, would you please call the roll?
Councilman McAvoy,
Yes.
Councilman Spadafino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilman Windell,
Yes. Thank you. All right, we move on to another ordinance requiring a public hearing date of October 14th. It's ordinance 19-27, amending Chapter 114, Garbage, Refuse, and Recyclables of the Code of the Township of East Brunswick. Can I get a motion? Motion by Councilman Spadafino, second. Second by Councilwoman Sullivan. Discussion? Seeing none. Ms. Perry, would you call the roll?
Councilman McAvoy,
Yes.
Councilman Spadafino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilman Windell.
Yes. All right, for the good of the cause, anyone have anything?
Got a couple of things.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Cohn and Administrator Criscolo, for the paving job in my neck of the woods from Brunswick Ave down to Winton. But then I'm noticing, and I hope I'm wrong on this one, I counted 15 yellow gas markings that have been painted onto the road since it's been done. They're not digging it up, right?
No.
Thank you.
If you want to answer, you want me to. If you look at the areas where you see the gas markings, then you're going to see water markings and sewer. and electric markings as well, Councilman. That's because we installed new bicycle lanes on that roadway. With bicycle lanes becomes the necessity of signage. So in order for us to install the signage in the areas, it's a state law that would require the call before you dig or before we put posts in or anything. We're required to have the markouts to ensure that we don't hit a fiber optic line or a gas line or anything like that. So very shortly, the contractor that paved the road and striped it and so on, he just put the bicycle symbols out, I believe 2 weeks ago. He'll be putting up the bicycle signs where it starts, where it ends, and so on and so forth. So that was the purpose for the markings that I know of.
Right.
Okay?
Will they be painted over?
No.
The markings?
The markings go away.
They fade.
It's
In
specialized
time.
paint over
That,
time.
again, that's my neighborhood, so that's the question.
Yeah.
Hey, Mac, hey. I'll find
No,
out.
but I mean, ideally, state laws, if you want to put a mailbox in, you're supposed to call for a
Call for a
markout.
markout, yeah.
And you will get those marks in the road, on the curb, on the sidewalk, all over the place. You know, you want to dig below the surface of your yard, you're supposed to call for a markout.
Another problem in my neck of the woods, and Mrs. Perry, you can chime in on this if you know the answer. I put the garbage cans out late on Sunday nights. And then and they're in the street. They're not on that window of property from the curb to the other side of the sidewalk. Yet, we have a garbage picker, for lack of a better word. So, God bless you. So, is my garbage can like private, or can people go through the garbage can because it's on the street?
I will get you the hard answer next week, but I believe once it's at the curb, it's public.
Public.
It's interesting. I don't know if it's happening in your neighborhood, but it's happening in mine.
I only have problems with the turkey vultures.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you what, when I put out something that I don't need anymore,
It's gone.
it usually
Talking
finds a
about,
home.
talking about the can being opened and going
Yeah,
through the white bag.
nobody goes into the can.
That's our.
But they must know you have nice stuff in your cans.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Mac, what are you throwing out?
Shredding that paper, better be shredding it.
And then, I think I've brought this up before, just the fireworks that we can hear in our neighborhood. I guess the Park Chateau is doing some of it, and I guess they have the okay, but it seems as if there have been a couple of other firework Sunday or Saturday night, and from my home, as the crow flies, it seems like it's coming from the Park Chateau area, and I can only feel for the people who live over it. If I can hear an echo chamber of fireworks, I can only imagine what's going on the homes and the condos and the residents that are closer to the, and then the effect that it has on animals. I understand that animals can really go into a panic mode. Can you help me out by just telling me that everything is fine with fireworks?
Fireworks you might have heard were the ones from Rutgers a couple weeks ago.
I've heard them a lot more times than just one.
Well, sometimes some of the festivals that are over at the fairgrounds.
But any of those
Make
would
a
have to be
request.
approved and
Right.
They
council
come
would
before
have had.
council. Right.
And any firework that was to go off at the chateau would be approved at this council.
Unless they did it without approval.
Right. So if we have a specific date, we can.
I don't have, okay, I'm gonna monitor that then.
I think it
We
might
do
be
have
a-
one
Saturday,
coming up.
Saturday.
We have one coming up
You
this
just
Saturday.
approved one, I think.
Saturday.
Yeah, last meeting we
Right.
approved one.
But I
Park
think it
Chateau.
wouldn't be a terrible idea if you know those things ahead of time, that maybe the police can send out a nixle warning.
We did tell them on
We
the
did.
one that's coming up for this Saturday that we knew about, so that they
So
will do that.
people are
Right.
warned, right?
I will tell you what, if we're gonna be doing all of that, we should be charging a larger fee, because now you start incurring all this other administration and all of that. Now you got police department involved and notifying people and all of that. Maybe we should look at the fee that we're charging.
Ryan will have that for the next meeting.
Do we charge a fee on top of the,
The permit is a
Permit.
fee.
They have to take out a fireworks permit.
I think
Along
the
with, not
Chateau-
only us, but they also take it out with the fire district, Fire
Right,
District 1.
Because I think the Chateau alone charges $11,000 for the,
Well, that's for
That's for
the
the fireworks.
fireworks themselves.
I think
Right.
that's the fireworks company.
I'm just saying,
Wow.
if we're gonna start administering notification to the public and all that, I think we have to
Yeah, very good idea.
take another look at our
Yeah.
fees. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Yes, Councilman.
I just want to reemphasize what Councilwoman Sullivan just said, linking on to what Councilman McAvoy said about garbage pickers and how important it is to properly dispose of any documents of any kind that might have your name, address, any other information about your gas bill, anything. You really should, as Councilwoman Sullivan said, you should shred it or tear it in a way that it's unrecognizable, because Councilman McAvoy just said, we got garbage pickers out there, and if they're going through your trash cans, they're looking for something of valuable.
Well put. I shred everything.
Me too.
Anyone else? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Councilman Spadafino, second by Councilwoman Sullivan. All in favor?
Aye.